Hi, it's me, Courtney, America's Jewish mother. Welcome back to my channel. Since it's already the 3rd of May, I figured I'd better get on with a May TBR if I was going to do one. So if you saw my Friday Reads video, you know that I'm already currently reading 3 books, which are Leah Hager Cohen's Strangers and Cousins, which is about a family in a small town in the Northeast somewhere like Pennsylvania-ish, who all gather together for the wedding of the oldest daughter, and of course there are some secrets that the father and mother are keeping from the family that are sure to come out at some point, and probably, I'm guessing, some secrets that other family members have that will also come out at some point. So I'm about a third of the way through that right now. It's pretty good so far. I talk a little bit more about it in my Friday Reads video if you want to check that out. I'm also currently reading Daniel Silva's The English Assassin, which is the second in his Gabriel Allon series. This is just a quick, page-turning, pretty fast-paced spy thriller novel. Gabriel, and it's the second in the series, so I try not to give away too much, but basically within the first 2 chapters of the book, Gabriel gets himself arrested, so it's already pretty exciting. We're like, oh my gosh, how's he gonna get out of this? So anyway, I would recommend it if you like page-turning spy thriller books. I'm also currently buddy reading Native Son by Richard Wright with Lindsay from Lindsay's Book Life. So we're only about 40 pages into that right now, so not that much has happened, so more to come later on that. So, in addition to those 3, the other books I want to read this month are, in no particular order, I want to read Thomas Hardy's The Mayor of Casterbridge. I really, really love Tess of the D'Urbervilles. It used to be one of my favorite books of all time. I would reread it every year. I've also read a good bit of Thomas Hardy's poetry, and I've also read his novel Jude the Obscure, but I've never read The Mayor of Casterbridge, so I would like to get to that at some point this month. I don't really know that much about it, except that it takes place in Thomas Hardy's fictional area called Wessex, and it's about a guy who becomes the mayor of Casterbridge, as implied by the title. Other than that, I know nothing about it, but I am excited to finally get around to it because I've literally had this copy for years. Okay, the next book I would like to get to is, God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. I don't actually really know much about this, so I'll just read you the blurb on the back. Compared favorably to the works of Faulkner and Dickens, Arundhati Roy's debut novel is a modern classic that has been read and loved worldwide. Equal parts powerful family saga, forbidden love story, and piercing political drama, it is the story of an affluent Indian family forever changed by one fateful day in 1969. The 7-year-old twins Esther and Rahel see their world shaken irrevocably by the arrival of their beautiful young cousin Sophie. It is an event that will lead to an illicit liaison and tragedies accidental and intentional, exposing big things that lurk unsaid in a country drifting dangerously toward unrest. Lush, lyrical, and unnerving, The God of Small Things is an award-winning landmark that started for its author an esteemed career of fiction and political commentary that continues unabated. So this was published in 1997. Yes, 1997. Oh, right. And something that Greg from Supposedly Fun does is that he likes to read the first line of the book, so I'm going to do that too. So, the first line of this is, May in Imenim is a hot, brooding month. Alright, there you have it. And since I did not read the first line of The Mayor of Casterbridge, let me go back and do that. One evening of late summer before the present century had reached its 30th year, a young man and woman, the latter carrying a child, were approaching the large village of Waydon's Priors in Upper Wessex on foot. Alright, well that's interesting already. Okay, the next book I would like to get to is Les Blancs, which is a collection of late plays by Lorraine Hansberry. If you're familiar with Lorraine Hansberry, it's probably because of her very famous play from 1959 called A Raisin in the Sun, which had a lot of success on Broadway, has been revived successfully several times and has been made into several film adaptations. There was a pretty famous one in the early 1960s with Sidney Poitier and most of the original Broadway cast. There was also a less successful movie version of it made, and I want to say around 2008, 2010, something like that, with Audra McDonald, love. Who else was in that? Rashida, Felicia Rashad, yes. So Audra McDonald, Felicia Rashad, and Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy. Bless his heart, he wasn't meant for acting. So my guess is that's why that particular version of the film did not fare as well. Anyway, so this is her later play. She actually did write way more than just A Raisin in the Sun, but that's, again, her most famous work. So this has her plays Les Blancs, The Drinking Gourd, and What Use Are Flowers. And because it has 3 separate plays in it, I don't really think it's useful to read the first line of the first one. So I'm not going to do that, but I would like to get to this at some point this month because I've had this for a long time, and I've read some of Lorraine Hansberry's other work, and so I feel like this would give me kind of a better understanding of her vision as a playwright. Alright, okay, this is a library book, so I'm going to put the title of it over here. But this is actually an autobiography of Tallulah Bankhead. It's called Tallulah, my autobiography. So my desire to read this actually started with me teaching A Streetcar Named Desire earlier in the semester in my gender and literature class. So in doing some research to prepare to teach that to my students, because I'd read it before but I'd never actually taught the play, I found out that Tennessee Williams actually wrote the role of Blanche Dubois in A Streetcar Named Desire with Tallulah Bankhead in mind. And if you never heard of Tallulah Bankhead, she was a spitfire, larger-than-life movie star personality from the 1940s and 50s. I think I was first introduced to her in reruns of the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour because she guest starred in one of those, and it was so funny. If you like Lucille Ball and you've never seen the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour with Tallulah Bankhead in it, you should totally look that up because it's awesome. And I read a biography of Tallulah Bankhead at some point many years ago, and it was very interesting because, again, she was like a really larger-than-life personality. She was from this politically well-to-do family in Alabama. She had this deep, husky voice. She famously had this insatiable sexual appetite for both men and women. She drank a lot. She partied a lot. And I think famously one of her maxims was that she hated to go to bed, she hated to get up, and she hated to be alone. And also, just to give you some more insight into her personality, reportedly, her last words were a request for codeine and bourbon. So I'm really interested to read her autobiography. I am a sucker for any story about a spitfire, larger-than-life personality, a big-shouldered broad who just sort of reeks that energy of HBIC. So yes, that is Tallulah, my autobiography, library copy. I got that, by the way, before all the libraries closed down. That's why I have it. Alright, the next book I would like to read is a collection of poetry by Jack Gilbert called Refusing Heaven. I actually read this a number of years ago in a poetry seminar, and I remember liking it, and so I would like to reread it just to have more poetry. Oh, I forgot to read the first line of Tallulah. This is hard to remember. Alright, so the first line of Tallulah Bankhead's autobiography is, despite all you may have heard to the contrary, I have never had a ride in a patrol wagon. Work. This is not going to disappoint. Alright. Okay, so yeah, I would like to reread Jack Gilbert's Refusing Heaven at some point. And if the first poem is not too long, I'll read you the first poem. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to read you the first line of the first poem. It's called A Brief for the Defense. Sorrow everywhere. slaughter everywhere. All right. So yeah, I want to get to this at some point this month. The next book I would like to read is the autobiography of Nina Simone called I Put a Spell on You. If you've never heard of Nina Simone, I strongly recommend looking up her songs Feeling Good or Sinner Man. And she's also really well known for more protest music. She had a nickname, the High Priestess of Soul. She was a really famous singer in the 60s and 70s especially. She was actually born in my home state, North Carolina. And yeah, again, just one of those people who kind of had this larger than life personality. My friend Josh got this for me for my birthday like a number of years ago, and I've never read it. And so I would like to finally get around to reading Nina Simone's autobiography. This is from the blurb on the back. The inimitable, gorgeously talented Nina Simone, the High Priestess of Soul, sets the story of her tumultuous, passionate life straight in I Put a Spell on You. Born Eunice Kathleen Wayman in small-town North Carolina, Nina Simone was entrusted with the troubles of others from an early age, nursing her father back from the brink of death at the age of 4 and supporting her family by her late teens. After a one-year stint at Juilliard, she applied to a prestigious Philadelphia music school but was rejected, many say for racially motivated reasons. Simone taught piano students to pay her rent, but soon discovered what her mother called working in the fires of hell, singing in bars. Her first professional gig was in Atlantic City before an unappreciative, drunken audience, but eventually college students discovered her and made her a local celebrity. She took up with an agent who moved her to New York and asked her to record a version of I Loves You Porgy, from Porgy and Bess. It played on a Philadelphia radio station to enormous acclaim, and her star was on the rise. Nina Simone embraced the protest movement in the 60s and 70s with the song Young, Gifted, and Black. P.S. That was actually written about Lorraine Hansberry, fun fact, which became an anthem for the American Civil Rights Movement. Songs like I Put a Spell on You, Put a Little Sugar in My Bowl, and Mississippi Goddamn helped change the face of race relations and music in America and around the world. Here, then, are the many lives and loves of Nina Simone recounted in her unmistakable voice. So I am excited to get to this. Let me read the first line of this. Well, that's the prologue. I don't know if that counts. Well, it's written by her. I'll say it counts. When I used to get blue years ago, James Baldwin would say the same thing to me each time. This is the world you have made for yourself, Nina. Now you have to live in it. And yeah, also fun fact about Nina Simone, she and James Baldwin and Lorraine Hansberry were all very close friends. So yeah, I'm excited to see what her recollections are of her own sort of rise to stardom and her own thoughts about how she shaped the civil rights movement. All right, and the last book I would like to get to in May. By the way, if I don't get to all of these, it's fine. I'm not really married to the idea that I have to get through everything on my TBR in 1 month. So if some spill over to June, that's fine. But the last book I would like to get to sooner rather than later is The Gift of Adversity by Norman E. Rosenthal, The Unexpected Benefits of Life's Difficulties, Setbacks, and Imperfections. This is a book that I bought a number of years ago, probably when I was going through something that was difficult, and I started reading it, but I didn't get very far in it and I didn't finish it. So I figured, hey, we're all stuck in this pandemic, under quarantine, the world's on fire, let's read a book about how maybe I can look at this differently and see it as, you know, some sort of opportunity instead. So here's the first sentence of this. My first grade classroom was a prefabricated hut made out of what seemed to me like reinforced cardboard set on a concrete slab. Okay, so we're going to have some authorial recollections here. Alright, so those are the books, in addition to the ones I'm currently reading, I would like to get to sometime in the month of May. So I hope you're doing good reading this month. Let me know what you're interested in reading this month, or if any of these books, if you've read them or if they sound interesting to you, drop a comment below. I hope you're all staying healthy and well. Again, I hope you're getting good reading in this month. And as always, would it kill you to call your mother?